This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of a clown that's laughing, boys. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out to play. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out and play. I am a Batman.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Double and Dane, episode 242. My name is Tim, and joining me, as always, is Double and Dane himself. What's up, Dane?
What's going on, Tim? It feels like I haven't asked you that in a long time. You know, what's going on in the life of Tim?
Right now, it's following history in baseball with Aaron Judge. It's on a complete tear since it's the All-Star break, and it's been really fun to watch it. We tie that in with the Captain documentary that's going on ESPN about Derek Jeter. I'm just in like full-blown Yankee mode right now this last week or so, which has been awesome, especially when the Yankees are having a great season. They're like not as playing as well as they had earlier in the season, but man, they have such a big lead that it's not hurting them in the division. But just seeing Aaron Judge on a tear with the home runs he's hitting, he's on pace to break. We'll see how the rest of the 2 months goes, but he's on pace to break Roger Maris' single season home run record. And yes, that is still the single season home run record, not Bonds' 70 whatever, Mark McGuire's, Sammy Sosa, all that. No, it's still Roger Maris. So if he has a chance to break that, that's going to be a really special moment to see. So that's what's kind of been occupying my world as far as entertainment stuff right now.
You know what I was thinking, Tim? Why don't we just have steroid leagues? You know what I mean?
Steroid leagues.
Like, let's just have I mean, you have to be consenting to it, right? And like, it has to be okay, so you have no chance in Major League Baseball, right? So, but you have a chance in the SMLB, right? The steroid Major League Baseball. Right, and then you can do it in the NFL, you can do it in NHL, you can do it in basketball. Just have a steroid league. Like, I don't see what the problem is.
Who would want to watch?
Like, ethically, yeah.
Like, who would want to watch that though? Watching people with enhanced skills and ability play, like I wouldn't be interested in that. It's a cheat. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it'd be cool to see like this roided out guy hit a home run into the parking lot, you know.
We already saw plenty of that back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Or like a basketball player that's roided out that breaks the rim,
right?
Only dunks.
That actually would be cool to see, though. That would be.
Yeah, like why not? I mean, like, or like a hockey player that hits the puck so hard it goes straight through the net. You know? It'd be pretty
it
cool.
Burns through the goalies a bit.
Yeah, like just have a steroid league, and then you don't have this problem in baseball or in other sports. No.
Yeah, it's a nice thought, but nah. You need people to watch it to sustain it, and I don't think anyone would watch that type of sports, knowing there's teams are full of cheaters.
I don't know. I wish I could say the same for you. For me. I wish I could be so happy about this Major League Baseball season, but It's not
Yeah.
going. It's not going very good.
I mean, this is a big week usually for Oakland where they trade off a bunch of players as the
Oh
trade
yeah.
deadline approaches. So you got that to
So
look
like,
forward to, right?
if you're a Oakland A's player, and I don't know, you put a string of wins together. Like let's say you're a starting pitcher, right? And you put a string of wins together. Let's say 5 in a row, 4 in a row, 4 in a row, right? You win 4 in a row. You're definitely getting traded.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So, also, if you're uh, arbitration eligible at the end of the season, yeah, you're gone.
Gone.
So, yeah, I did want to ask you, Tim, how's Kleiner Falefa doing?
He's doing pretty good. I will say, he was brought in for defensive purposes. I mean, he was a Gold Glove winner at third. He is playing shortstop. He has made more errors than I would like to see, to be honest. I mean, he's still solid at shortstop, but as far as him being supposed to be like a defensive elite player, I've seen him make one too many errors than what I was expecting. But he's still been pretty solid. He has 0 home runs though, but he's not that type of hitter. So no knock on him there. It's just funny to see. There's still has a 0 in the home run column when they show his stats on TV.
It's just for the defense, Tim.
Yeah, admittedly. And he's done enough hitting. Like he's gotten a few clutch hits throughout the season, so he's been good.
I see. Good. That's the only guy I'm really rooting for.
From your hometown, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he won the Little League World Series, so
There you go.
yeah. Hopefully, he can win a Major League World Series.
Yes, so let's hope it's this year. So yeah, a lot of fun baseball to go with some other fun stuff we're going to talk about on this episode. But as always, we got to start off with our minute by minute Lord of the Rings commentary for the Fellowship of the Ring. And we are going from minute 30 to 31. So like I said last time, we hit that big half-hour milestone. So it's going to be another long journey to hit that hour mark, but it's going to begin on this episode. So as always, if you want to grab your VHS copy, your Betamax copy, your Laserdisc copy, your HD DVD copy, your film projector copy, your Blockbuster membership video card to go rent it, your Netflix physical media that you just got out of your mailbox, your UMD that you just found sitting in the storage somewhere because it's so old and there wasn't so many people who had those versions, but you have those. And then also, of course, you got to get your DVHS and our favorite, your VHS to converted DVD copy that you just made. So you got all that, hit it to the 30-minute mark, and I'll give the countdown. Dana, you ready?
Before we get to that, I got a quick question for you that I've been wondering about. What is the worst Star Wars thing that you've ever bought that, like, I don't know, looked good, I don't know, in the advertisement, and then you got it and it's like, oh my, this is awful.
Oh, that's easy. I think we talked about it here plenty of times. Star Wars Connect. I mean, that takes the cake every time.
Yeah, but you weren't looking forward to it, right? You weren't like, oh, this is the Star Wars game to end.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't too much hype for that, but I guess I got another one, the Masters of Terraskazi game for the PlayStation, because being hyped for it's a Star Wars fighting game. I mean, it's the only one of its kind, and that in the late '90s. I mean, I love the fighting game genre, as you know. So getting a Star Wars fighting game was going to be awesome. The graphics for the time looked pretty good, but oh boy, the gameplay mechanic. Controls are awful. The way that's like the collision detection on the characters of this move so slow. It was just the small arenas is like had ring outs, which I'm not a huge fan of in fighting games. I know Soul Calibur has that, and I do like some of the Soul Calibur games, but it felt so small in the Star Wars Masters of Terraskazi. But yeah, so that would be one that probably sticks out as a Star Wars game I was hyped for, but then playing it was actually I kind of was one of those things I tried to force myself to like it, where it's like, oh, this isn't too horrible. I can't do a move, but it's still kind of fun.
Okay, so that was one that you you were really looking forward to, and like got it, and it was like, oh, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Ah, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to.
Okay. Now that we got that answered and your curiosity was answered with that question, we're good to go. All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Great positioning shots of Gandalf looking at the ring. I do like this quick shot we get of, as he goes to touch it, that quick look at the Sauron eye. And even watch it for the first time, going, what is that? Not necessarily knowing that is the eye of Sauron as someone going into the movie experiencing the full story for the first time.
Was the Eye of Sauron always visualized like that?
Not really. I mean, he was
That's
referred to as that.
movies.
It wasn't like the movies really played it up, or it was just like the Eye of Sauron as the visual representation of the character.
Oh, okay.
And Gandalf recalling the events of the Hobbit, Riddles of the Dark.
I guess Gandalf doesn't care about Bilbo's house because he's smoking indoors.
I mean, come on. He probably knows the Hobbit so well that every Hobbit smokes. So he probably knows Frodo's not going to mind.
Yeah. Don't smoke in my house. What's wrong with you?
Especially now that Frodo officially owns the house.
Yeah, I know. It's like, Tim, what would you do if I came over to your house, pulled out my long pipe?
If it was that long pipe, I'd let it go because those look awesome.
Oh, okay.
I would love to see that image of you, Dane, with that big pipe.
Okay, I guess I gotta go over to Tim's house then.
Yep.
Bring my long
Only if
pipe.
you have that pipe. Otherwise, I'm sorry, Dane, I can't let you in. All right, so we hit the 31-minute mark on our Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring minute-by-minute commentary. So stay tuned to how far we get in the movie next episode. All right, so before we get into our main topic, which is going to be some of the big announcements that we're excited about at Comic-Con last week, we got to catch up on some of the video games that we've been playing since our last episode. And we had one that came out that has been one of our most anticipated games of the year since our last episode. And that, of course, is Stray, the PS5 / PS4 exclusive, featuring probably the greatest video game character of all time now. I mean, I think the debate's over. A stray cat. Yes, you play as a cat. I mean, I remember seeing that trailer. I forget when it was, like an E3 1 or 2 years ago. Might have been 2 years ago now.
That was the PSN thing.
Was it? Yes,
Yeah,
that's
the
a good point too.
PlayStation thing. Yeah.
Not sure if it was E3 or like a PlayStation, one of their event videos that they do. But regardless, when I saw it for the first time, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. What a great concept. It looked neat. And I just couldn't wait to play it. And it finally came out a week ago. And it is a short game. Took me about 6 hours to beat it. So I kind of knew that going in. It would just, so I wasn't expecting a really long, big, one of those AAA title games that's going to keep you busy for like 50 or 60 hours. But that's totally fine with me. But yeah, I had a blast with it. It was just really cool, really fun, unique way to play a game. Just being a cat doing cat things. As cat owners that we're so used to, it was just it's so fun, so adorable too to see that cat go on the adventure that he did in the course of this game. So it was fun. It was not really an action-based game. It's more of just exploration, solving a little bit of puzzles, and just exploring more of the story that the game has to tell. So that was one thing. That's not necessarily a knock, but I would like it if, like, because you get to do certain things with the cat, like the circle button makes a meow, so you can meow as many times as you want. You could scratch certain objects with the trigger buttons. All these, like I said, different things cats do that you could do in the game. But I was expecting them to have kind of like an action button or like a combat button where he just uses his paw and swipe, where you can swipe certain enemies. Because there's not a lot of enemies that you're faced in the game. There's all these like mutated creatures that swarm you, and there's tons of them. I thought maybe you would be able to fend them off doing that, but there was no button that had the cat use his paw to attack those creatures. So no attack button. But other than that, it has everything you would expect to do as you're playing a cat. So I thought it was great. It was a fun, unique journey and got into the story as well. So all around, just a really solid, unique game that I'm just so glad exists now.
Yeah, it's, again, it is actually one of the our most anticipated games of the year, and it's the best one I've played this year. Um, yeah, let's think for every reason that you said. I really liked how they told the story.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, you're a cat, so like you can't, you know, talk to humans, but or talk to robots, but like you do have a drone, and then it's this drone that has the consciousness of a scientist that that died a long time ago, and yeah, I just like the story, like how you start off on the bottom level, and then like you think this mid-level place, this mid-town is gonna be like this paradise, or at least I did. And then
Mhm.
you get there and it's like totally repressive. Like the cops are like everywhere and uh, you know, harassing people.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just like that whole change where it's like on that bottom level, everybody's sort of relaxed, and you get to that mid level, and then it's like everybody's, you know, being repressed. And then I I like the ending, but I do have one nitpick. I just wish that we would have seen the cat find its friends again.
I was
I
gonna
know
say
it's a
the
small
exact
little
same
thing.
thing, Dane. Yeah.
Yeah, small little thing. But then I really wish, you know, like it. I guess you could say because we don't know, but um, it the cat would have found its friends again because I don't know that was one of the coolest parts of the game. You know,
Yeah, the
interacting
intro.
with all these other cats. Yeah.
Yep. I know. I love the intro too. Like I said, you with your fellow stray cats just kind of hanging out in like this pipe or tube, and then you just kind of all go wandering out. That part made me sad, where the cat falls off. That's the start of your whole journey. Charlie's jumping on this platform, it falls apart, and he falls all the way down to the slums of that dome they're in. And I was expecting to, oh, so that's going to be the kind of the ending we're going to see. He gets reunited with his fellow cats once he makes it back up, but no, that didn't happen. I was a little bummed at that. So I
Yeah.
completely agree. And also too, like I agree. I was invested into the story more than I was expecting, as far as what happened in this universe to the humans, and just how now everything is left to these robots. And
Robots. Yeah.
as you said, it gets revealed that your drone, like the consciousness of a human scientist, was put in there. And I'm wondering, oh, is that kind of the case for a lot of these robots then? Are those actually human consciousness inside these robot figures? Never really gets fully explained or revealed if that was the case or not. But you still felt for a lot of these robot characters as if they were humans, because a lot of them had feelings, some of them had parents. So it definitely was an interesting story to see play out as you go further in the game. And it was kind of a bittersweet ending, really, because as you mentioned, we were hoping to see the cat get reunited with his other fellow stray cats, and we see him go rise above. He opens the dome, obviously, to the full world, and now he gets out there to explore. And that's kind of where it leaves it open ended, so you can kind of think in your head if you want that he gets reunited with his cats. But the bummer part too, where the drone sacrifices themselves to open up that dome and to have the cat reach the surface. And it was kind of sad to see him go as they formed that friendship, and seeing the cat kind of hit the drone and trying to wake it up and it's not waking up. It was like, oh man, this is kind of a bummer of an ending. But it was still a well told story in such a short amount of time too. That's another impressive thing I felt about it, where it's a short game, not too many chapters and levels to explore, but they did a good job of making the most of what was in the game, of fleshing out this world and the characters you interact with. So they just a really great job all the way around for this kind of game.
Yeah. Another thing too is, whereas you kind of wish there was combat, I'm glad there wasn't combat because you know I don't want to have a cat fight. You know, and if you have combat in a game, it sort of takes away from the story, I guess. And like this game was strictly all I'd say like 98% story driven, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of chase scenes in there where you have to run away from the I think it's the Zergs, is it?
Yeah, that's their name. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, you have to run away from them, and then there's one part where you have to sneak past these robot cops, and that's enough for me. You know, like if you're gonna have like this story-driven game, um, you know, like you don't need combat because this totally reminds me of this game I played on Xbox called Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice, and like
Okay.
it was like a total like immersive story about this Viking woman that is she has some kind of psychosis, like she has some kind of, I think she's like schizophrenic, right? And just the audio design and like how the voices are and the story and everything, how everything ties in together. And then they threw in the combat, and it kind of felt really out of place. So
Really? Okay.
I'm sort of glad that they didn't have combat in the game.
Yeah, it definitely works. It was just something that I felt like I wanted to do as a cat. Like that's part of what cats do too. They get into fights. So, unfortunately, sometimes, but especially when there's like other critters that you think you'd be able to swipe them away. So, but again, not a huge deal. And another thing too is like the little fun stuff you can do and trophies that you can earn just by being a cat. And I still got to go back and because I haven't gotten all the memories that you get to reveal for the drone. So I'll probably go back and try to unlock all those. I think I'm at 70%. But just like some of the fun trophies that you just can get accidentally not knowing. One of my favorite ones is when you're at the nightclub and then you just see this record on a table. You can pick it up with your mouth and then you go to the DJ booth. You can set it on there, and then as they're playing it, you become like a cat DJ, do the scratch, to do the cat scratches on the turntable. It just makes those sounds as a DJ would, but you're doing it as a cat, and then you unlock that trophy. It's a little fun stuff like that. I just love seeing throughout the game as well.
I missed that one, Tim. Dang it.
Because I remember seeing that, oh, there's this record on the table. You could pick it up. I wonder what you could do with it. Then I see the DJ booth, like, there's a turntable that's missing a record. So that's probably where you get to do it. You put it on there. It's like, okay, it's on. It's playing music, but what do you do? And then, okay, it gives you the option to do the scratches. Like, okay, this is what it's for. Just for some fun cat scratching trophy to unlock.
Yeah, the nightclub, I mean, maybe it's just the day or whatever, but that was the one part of the game where I had a hard time figuring out.
Oh, really?
like where to go and stuff, because you have to go into the rafters.
Yeah.
You have to go on those light fixtures or whatever. That was the one. I mean, especially with that one puzzle with the 3 buttons, and you have to press to try to get like the right combination of the lights. Yeah, that was the one part I had. that was the one part of the game that I had a hard time on.
Yeah, I remember I was kind of surprised too, like how quick the game, like the last couple of levels were, because the last main one is the where you're trying to escape the prison from those robot police, and then after that I was gonna, because I was kind of playing it late. Maybe I should stop at this chapter because I was trying to do like the last 2 chapters like one a night, but then that one ended pretty quick. I was like, let's see how long the last chapter is, and the last chapter was pretty short because you really just wasn't much to it as far as. There was one puzzle solving event at the very end, but it was pretty straightforward as far as how quickly it moved and what you had to do. So it did move pretty quickly at the end. But overall, again, you knew going into it was going to be a short game, but it overall had a really nice pace to it and a flow where no one section felt like it was dragging too long or it was moving too quick, except for a little bit at the last level, I felt. But overall, just a really well-paced game.
What was dragging at the last part of the game?
Oh no, just that not draggy, but felt it went too quick a little bit.
Oh,
Where it's like you're at the last level and you're already kind of at the main thing you have to do to finish the game.
Oh, you didn't have fun turning on the computer screens, Tim, and scratching at the servers?
That was fun. I did have. It took me a little while to find out
Figure
where
it
to
out.
open the last terminal to unlock it.
Yeah, there's like what, 3 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Stray is awesome.
Yeah, it's my game of the year so far, Tim. I've been let down massively by Assassin's Creed Dawn of Ragnarok. That's one of the. I mean, it was good, but that was one of the worst expansions they put out
Yeah,
for it.
really.
It's one of the worst. Like I just could not get into the story. Not only that, you have to know the Viking sagas, the Icelandic Viking sagas, and the different characters in them. And I mean, you go from. I mean, I know Ubisoft was saying like the the Assassin's Creed Valhalla is more based on the sagas more than it is on real life, on like how the Vikings actually were. But then it's like it's pretty close to like real life, and then you have the Ireland one, the Ireland expansion, right, where we get Dublin Dane from.
It's worth it for that at least.
Yeah, no, that one was good. It was good. There was enough realism in it, and then it kind of goes towards the sagas, and then you have the Paris one, which was entirely in in a in realism, like or realistic, and then you have this one that's based entirely on the Icelandic sagas, and then it's like but like it doesn't really make sense, and like I don't know what the story is, and like I haven't read the sagas, and it's and the powers, like the power, like what was the point of like you can get like these different powers, like you can like have a frost hammer, and you can like walk on lava, stuff like you can turn into a bird and get to a higher peak.
Okay.
But like I was like, what's the point of these powers? Because they last so short. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can turn into a bird and go up the side of a mountain, but it goes so fast, you're only getting about like a quarter up the mountain, you know? So it's like, I don't understand the point of these powers because I'm only getting a quarter up the mountain, and then I got to climb the rest of the way. So like, what's the point? But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go on a rant there, Tim. But that was one of the biggest. That was a huge letdown.
Well, I think it's safe to say my favorite games this year are going to be defined by 2 animals, cats and turtles, because Shredder's Revenge was awesome, Stray's awesome, and then the Cowabunga collection, which comes out at the end of August, is going to be, I mean, the be all end all for me as far as the collection of games. So that's pretty much going to be my highlights of video gaming this year as far as these titles coming out. Even though technically the Cowabunga collection is a bunch of old games, Shredder's Revenge and Stray as far as going to be probably more than likely as far as new games this year that came out in 2022 are probably going to be my favorites.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be Knights of the Old Republic.
For a long, long time, if ever now.
I don't think that game's coming out, Tim. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's not going to come out.
at least not for that studio who's developing it. So if anything, I'm hoping Lucasfilm Games gives it to another developer to do it because it has to happen at some point. I mean, the game just is begging for a remake.
Give it back to BioWare. I mean, I don't know about that because Anthem and
Well, they did a
Mass
great job.
Effect.
They did a great job with the Mass Effect Legendary Collection, so they should do the same for Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, but this is going to be like a bright. Like they're building it from the ground up, right? So
True.
I don't know.
But again, the core elements are all there, so you just kind of have to tweak it a little bit, at least from the gameplay mechanics, and just give it a really nice facelift.
Yeah, just make the graphics look really nice.
But yeah, it's going to be a long way. Maybe for its 30th anniversary in 2033 is when we'll get it on the PlayStation 7.
I think it's going to come out after 2030.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's the case. I really wouldn't.
2036. 2036 then.
So for its 33rd anniversary, then, I guess.
Yeah, 2036, I think.
But
Jeez.
one game that did come out recently, that just this week, that's kind of surprised me. I knew it was coming soon, but I didn't realize it was this week. Was the open beta for MultiVersus, the Warner Brothers franchise Smash Brothers clone game, which we talked about when it was first announced on a previous episode, is how it looked like it could be a fun time if you're into the Smash Brothers style of fighting games. And I haven't played it as much as I wanted to. I did play it once just to kind of see and get my first impressions of it. And I will say the gameplay style of it is fun. I got to play as Superman and Wonder Woman, and it is really focused on doing as a team co-op type fighting game where you and another player team up with your characters. Your characters can have some kind of co-op moves that either help defensively or offensively against your opponents. And that gameplay mechanic is fun. It is, if you play Smash Brothers, you'll know the basic style of gameplay for MultiVersus. There were just no items or final smashes, which I wish they had a final smash type of move, because those are always fun in Smash Brothers, like one ultimate move per character. But none of that. But the gameplay style is still really fun. And it's great to hear some iconic voice actors, obviously Kevin Conroy. There's George Newbern, I believe, is the Superman, doing Superman's voice, not Tim Daly, if I remember right. From what I heard, it did sound like George Newbern. And just because, I don't know if you heard about the Nickelodeon All-Stars fighting game, which is another Smash Brothers clone, which had some Ninja Turtle characters, so I had to try that one. But there was no sound effects or voice acting for the characters. It just really took you out of it, where you were just hitting each other and there'd be no sound. It would just felt really weird. So I'm glad the developers behind MultiVersus realized that sound and voice acting really adds a lot to these games. And when you have the iconic voices like this one does, it is really cool. So everything's there for a really fun Smash Brothers type game. But my big thing on it, I wish it wasn't one of those free to play models type games. I just really hate that model of games. Just give me a game like that with a price point, simple single price point like every normal game would have. I'll gladly pay it. And it does have different price options on there. I mean, you got a $40 one, a $60 one, and then a $100 version that you can get, which I hope has most of the stuff unlocked. But even then, I don't think it's everything. And it's one of those things, because I was thinking I'll probably, maybe if I'm going to get anything, get the $40 one. And it gives you like these character tickets that you can use to unlock characters. And that, I don't think, even unlocks every character if you were just to get the $40 one. There would be ones where you still would have to unlock, either with the money you can get in the game as you earn by fighting, or some in-game currency, which are like these gems that you have to buy with real money to get. And that's only certain ways to unlock, like skins and different extras, like ring out animation type stuff, and stuff to customize your characters with. All that, I believe, is only in the in-game currency, like these gems, which you would have to use real money to get. And that is just really annoying. I mean, there are certain stuff, like you can play the game and earn points and money, I believe it's gold, as you play to unlock the characters, which is fine. But if you want to get everything, a lot of the cool cosmetics and extra features, that's where it's gonna cost you. And depending on which version you get, whether the $40, $60, or $100 version, that gives you the most gems to use over the course of your playthrough to try to unlock that stuff. But I'm not sure even if you get the $100 one, that's where I'm not sure if that'll get you everything. I imagine it probably won't, but I would hope it would give you a good amount, a lot of the customizations you want for the characters. So that's the thing that's kind of holding it back for me as far as really diving into it. I'm going to see how far I can get with playing it and just using the money I get by playing the game and unlocking the characters that way. Because I still have to get Batman. That's obviously my number one character I have to use to unlock. Because right now I started with Superman, Wonder Woman, and a few, like, one or two other characters, but Batman was unlocked. So I got to at least earn enough money in the game to unlock Batman and try to build him up. So the foundation is there for a really fun game with some iconic characters, which you would never expect to see face off, which makes it a lot of fun. I'm really glad, too, they paid attention to just some detail as far as character interactions, because you know how in fighting games, if you pick certain characters, they'll talk smack with each other, or reference each other by the character by name, and that's in here too. Like Batman will, if he's teaming up with Shaggy, he will mention Shaggy like you need to train more or something like that. Or just when they're facing off their opponents, they'll mention them by name. It's not just like this generic bit of dialogue that no matter what character they're playing, they'll say the same thing. As certain dialogue is specific for when a character faces a different character. That's really fun. I mean, hearing Arya Stark saying, "Batman, we're so much alike, but you showed too much mercy." I mean, stuff like that is awesome. So a lot of great stuff in there. It's just, I just wish it was a normal standard game and not one of those free to play and all the stuff to use in-game currency to unlock with your real money and then get stuff. So we'll see how much I actually dive into it and play and unlock just with the free-to-play version. If I really get into it, maybe I'll buy that $40 version, get some of those character passes and those gems to unlock some of their alternate costumes and other customizable features for it. So yeah, it's fun. I just really hate the free-to-play model in games. I wish that would go away.
Oh, you're not going to get the $100 version, Tim?
No, I'm not, Dane.
Yeah, that's irritating, especially like, I mean, you know, the one you want is going to be, it's going to be one of the buy ones that you can't get in the game.
Yeah, like I wish I could start off playing Batman in the free to play, but of course he's unlocked. You have to unlock.
Yeah. What is the weirdest combination that you've done in that game?
That's the thing. I haven't really played it too much. I just, when I was playing, I was Superman, and the other person I was seeing that was Wonder Woman, and then Shaggy. Those are the two combo teams I had. I did pretty good too, which I was surprised. I won all the matches I played. I just played like about 4 of them, but I did win them, and it was fun.
Should do Harry Potter versus Arya.
That's the thing. There is no Harry Potter. I could have sworn too, like Gandalf was going to be a character, but there's no Gandalf either. So I'm hoping maybe in some DLC we get, because I think Gandalf would be really awesome and fun to play in that.
Is Gandalf is Lord of the Rings Warner Brothers?
The movies licenses, so they could use the Ian McKellen Gandalf.
I wonder if they held him off because Ian McKellen didn't want to do it right now or something. They don't want to do the voice.
I'm sure they'd be able to get a different voice actor. So yeah, I mean, it's free to play, so anyone can try it out if you want. It's definitely worth just to try it out with the limited characters to kind of get a feel of how fun the game could be, and probably even more so if you want to pay and unlock the other stuff, which I wish wasn't the case. But I think definitely try it out.
Yeah, I'm okay, Tim. I don't know. I'm like you with the games as a service thing.
Yeah, I mean, I stay away from all those games. I mean, I'm only trying it because it's all these characters. I mean, these other free-to-play games I never really try because of that model. But I wanted to try this one, obviously, because I love Smash Brothers, and it's with some cool characters, obviously. So I'll try it out.
I see.
So, yeah, 2 games recently that came out that we're looking forward to. One of them was awesome, lived up to the hype, and one of them definitely has the potential if it wasn't a certain style of how you get to experience the game. But if you're into that and don't have a problem with the free-to-play model, then you're probably going to love MultiVersus. But with that, we can get into our main topic for this episode, which is going to be a recap on some of the big stuff that we're excited about that was announced at Comic-Con last weekend. And it was just really fun to have Comic-Con back. And even though I've never been to a Comic-Con, I don't have the strongest desire to go to a big convention like that. Especially when you have to, it's still the same scenario. We have to wait in line for overnight to get into the main panels that I would go to, which of course is the Hall H panels on Saturday. But still, I always have fun just following it from home and just seeing everyone's reaction on social media and Twitter on that day. So, I mean, there wasn't too many huge stuff, except when you get to the Marvel panel. That's what made Comic-Con, the Marvel Studios panel. But a few quick things before I get to that. On Friday, it was revealed that we're getting another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Ranger comic crossover, which we talked about the first crossover on our previous episode, and I love that. The Turtles had a lot of crossovers in comics, obviously with Batman and Power Rangers being another one. But the Power Rangers one was really good. I thought that was one of the better ones that they had, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do in another story. And the artwork looks fantastic again, and with the Power Rangers and the turtle design and that. So that was really cool to get. And then Saturday obviously was the big day where we're going to get DC and Marvel Studio movie news, and start with the DC ones first because that was pretty light, and we knew it was going to be that way going in, where they were only going to focus on the movies coming out this year, which is Shazam and Black Adam. And it was cool to get 2 trailers of Shazam and Black Adam on the same day, knowing how close a connection the characters have with each other, obviously. And the trailers were cool. Shazam is kind of going bigger and more fun for the stuff that we enjoyed in the first one. I just like how that one starts off, where Shazam's kind of, you think he's talking to a therapist, whatnot, saying how where he fits in the superhero line of things. Where there's already Batman, Flash, and Aquaman, and then there's him, and just how there's like the Marvel family now, where it's not just him as a superhero, and kind of keeping the group together. And just how he's kind of having some trouble with it, and which was fun. And just like the tone and the fun of the first movie is on full display in this trailer, and it just looks to be bigger with the action and stuff we're going to see in this one. So it looks like more good stuff of what we got in the first one, which was cool. And then for Black Adam, it was a shorter, more of a teaser than the first one we got released online about a month ago. And for that one, I was kind of lukewarm on the first Black Adam trailer we got. I was like, yeah, it looks good, but kind of generic superhero stuff that we've seen in movies before, nothing really new. But this second trailer that we got at Comic-Con, as The Rock came into the Hall H in full Black Adam costume, floating on with some wiring, I believe, with lightning going on in the background on the screen. It was a cool display, or way to make an entrance, and which I'm sure everyone got a kick of who was there. But I really liked the second teaser we got for Black Adam. I think more so because it showed a lot more of like the Justice Society, and in particular Dr. Fate, who looks awesome, is probably going to be the scene stealer in this movie. In my opinion, he looks awesome. So it was cool. It just gave me a better feel for the Black Adam movie than that first trailer that we got did. But still very minimal on anything for future DC movies, which I can understand with everything going on with the Discovery, Warner Brothers, or Discovery taking over Time Warner and all that stuff. They really wanted to focus on what's coming out this year and no big surprises or announcements. And of course, I saw online how there is some buzz. I think it was Deadline saying there's some buzz going around that Henry Cavill might show up during the panel and announce he's either going to be in Black Adam or he's going to show up in another movie. And of course, that got some fans excited and then disappointed when that didn't happen. But I was kind of, I'll wait and see. I'll believe it actually happens. And it didn't. And I can't say I was too shocked that happened. But the buzz was more about, or the reaction to the Warner Brothers panel was more about Henry Cavill not being there than getting the Black Adam and Shazam trailer shown there, which was kind of disappointing. But kind of expect that with the Warner Brothers and DC movies at this point. But still, like I guess, some fun 2 new trailers to get for those 2 movies coming out this year.
Let me be honest with you, Tim. I missed every single thing. Every single thing from Comic-Con. So this is all new to me.
Okay, so I'm breaking news for you then, right?
Yeah. You're my, I don't know, CBR right now. Except without the headlines like, oh, look at the Stranger Things guitar solo.
Do you want me to have headlines like that as I begin
No.
every second?
No, thank you, Tim. No,
Okay.
thank you. I'm gonna unsubscribe from the at TimChief311.
Darn, I lost you. Yeah, so the big one obviously was going to be the Marvel Studios panel. They always are the highlight of every Comic-Con. For the most part, they always bring it. There has been some times where Star Wars has been there for The Force Awakens, which was a highlight for the 2015 Comic-Con for me. But most of the time, it's usually the Marvel Studios that never disappoints with the announcements. And this one might have been one of their best ones yet because they just laid out their plans. Not because I'm not sure if you're aware of the Marvel phases, Dane, but there's a group of movies that counts as the phases. So there's Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 that ended with Endgame, and we're in Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And not only do we get the timeline as far as that's going to lead up to, but we got details on Phase 5 and Phase 6, which really brought the house down for those who were there. And so Marvel, they always kind of split what they release online and what they only show at Comic-Con, and that was the case for this one, where we only got 2 trailers that were released online. One was for the next Disney Plus series, She-Hulk, which looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And they're really going for kind of the sitcom comedy style for this one. They're not shying away from that, but with some cool appearances, which I'll get to in a bit. But and then a trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which is coming out this year. And man, I don't know if you saw the trailer for that one yet, Dane, but that looks like Ryan Coogler is going to pull off an impossible feat with that one, because that looks great. Of course, you have, just hearing him come on stage and the cast kind of talk about the movie, and knowing that Chadwick Boseman wasn't there, but yet he's there with them in spirit, just really, really felt the emotion on everyone involved with this movie. I think that was on full display in the trailer too, just showing in the Marvel universe how Wakanda is dealing with no longer having T'Challa there, and just seeing the visuals and the moment in the trailer. I mean, the one where T'Challa's mom is kind of saying like, I lost her husband, her son, like pretty much her whole family at this point now. And just Angela Bassett just kind of really, like, again, that emotion it's probably real when probably gonna see a lot of real emotion when the characters in the movie are talking about T'Challa and the circumstances. It's probably really real for them as they're remembering Chadwick Boseman. So like I said, that movie and that trailer is capturing just the emotion I think everyone's feeling making that movie, and I'm probably going to watch as they're watching it too, with the loss of Chadwick Boseman. But, and also too, the scale and scope of feels like it's going to be bigger and just more beautiful, this movie too, because we're going to Atlantis and Submariner is going to be the antagonist in this movie, and all that stuff looked great. So it's kind of building up, kind of be a war between Atlantis and Wakanda in this movie is going to be the central conflict, and probably how they deal with that without King T'Challa not being there, and who's going to take up the mantle of Black Panther. But the movie just looks really great, and just from an emotional standpoint and just from a spectacle standpoint as well, I was really impressed with that trailer. So I know you missed everything from Comic-Con as far as announcements, but did you have a chance to see this trailer yet, just over the course of the week online?
No, I didn't.
Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out.
Okay. So Chadwick Boseman is dead in the movie too.
Yeah, they're not going to recast his character. They're going to put it in the story where he passed away. Yeah.
And then somebody else takes over the Black Panther hell.
Yeah, the mantle of Black Panther. Yeah, they're keeping that under wraps right now. They haven't revealed who's actually going to be the new Black Panther just yet.
I see. And then Submariner. That's if I'm remembering correctly, Submariner is Marvel's attempt at Aquaman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I might be. Okay. I think Submariner was actually before Aquaman, if I remember, because he might have been with another comic. I know his history is, I believe, is with a different comic company, and then Marvel got it. Like either absorbed that company, or they got the rights to that character. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but he's a pretty old comic book character, like pretty sure before Aquaman.
Oh, so he's a character that like a big character that fans have really wanted to see in the Marvel.
Yeah, and
universe.
he was one of the ones, our character who was under license by Fox, where they couldn't use him until Disney bought 20th Century Fox. So now that they're able to use them, like Fantastic Four and like X-Men, they could finally use that character now. And he's always been a big character in the Marvel comics. So it is cool that they're finally able to use one of the big Marvel characters in the MCU now.
There's not going to be a Fantastic Four movie, is there?
There is, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that one was announced.
Yeah, they announced the release date, which is, I believe, going to be like November 2024. Okay. So no announcement as far as cast and director yet. But it was originally announced that the director, John Watts, who did all the Spider-Man Homecoming movies, or I should say not Homecoming movies, because Homecoming is only the first movie,
One.
but all the Spider-Man home movies, I should say. He was attached to direct it, but then he left, and now he's doing the Star Wars Disney Plus series. So we'll find out more detail, I guess, later on about Fantastic Four. But that's, I believe, is actually going to kick off Phase 6 once that releases.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, the big things. I'm sorry, Dave, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and there's gonna be an X-Men movie.
That hasn't been announced yet. There definitely is,
Okay.
though, because obviously the tease with Miss Marvel that we got at the end with her being a mutant, and Phase 5 is all lined out. Phase 6, they only announced a couple of movies for Phase 6, and there's like a lot of empty slots for Phase 6, and I think one of them definitely has to be an X-Men movie or a movie involving mutants. So nothing announced yet, but I think one's coming. And we still got D23 coming up in September. So, and Marvel always announced new stuff there, so maybe that's where we'll get an X-Men movie announced. But of all the stuff we got here, it's hard to believe that, yeah, there's still more stuff down the pipeline that they haven't announced yet, which is going to be awesome.
So, like, what movies are going to be in the next phase 5? Is it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Black Panther this year is going to end Phase 4. And then Phase 5 is going to kick off with the third Ant-Man movie, Quantumania, which comes out, I believe, in February 2023 or early 2023. And that's one of the movies where they showed some footage to the audience there, but didn't release it online. And I can't wait for that one because they're introducing Kang the Conqueror, and we got introduced to a variation of Kang in the Loki season 1 finale with the He Who Remains character, who was great. But Kang is going to be a big character in the future of the Marvel movies, which I'll get to in a bit. But that kicks it off, and then you got Echo TV series coming to Disney Plus. Echo was a character who was in Hawkeye, and she was probably the highlight of the Hawkeye series for me. She's a character who was deaf, but she's one who worked for Kingpin in there, but then realized Kingpin was the cause of her father's death. So she's going to end up becoming a hero more than she was a little bit of an antagonist / anti-hero, I guess, in the Hawkeye series, but she's going to be, I think, becoming a full-blown protagonist in this series. And there's some other reasons why I'll be excited about that series, which I'll get to in just a second. But after that on the list is Blade. But then the big one, this is what got me super excited about the Comic-Con announcements. Daredevil Born Again is going to be a Disney Plus series with Charlie Cox. We knew he was officially back from Spider-Man No Way Home, but officially back in his own series. It was Vincent D'Onofrio back as Kingpin. And the coolest part, it's going to be an 18-episode series on Disney Plus.
Oh.
So
Jeez.
I have a feeling they might break that up. Maybe we'll get like the first half of it and then maybe wait a few weeks and then we'll get the second half. We'll see. But that much more new content of Daredevil with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, I am through the roof as being excited about that. But the other cool part is I said, as I talked about the She-Hulk trailer, how there were some cool appearances. That trailer ended with showing Daredevil make an appearance on the rooftop in a new costume. They didn't show his full face, but they showed a character with the billy clubs doing a flip onto a rooftop, and you knew right away it was Daredevil with the costume, because they are going with a different style for his suit in the MCU than we saw in the Netflix series. It looks to be where they're going with kind of his original yellow and red outfit, and it wasn't. I mean, you obviously knew it was Daredevil, but it wasn't a full close-up shot to get really good look at the costume. But from the shots, it was 2 quick shots. But what we did get, it looked like it's going to look really cool in live action, that yellow and red suit. So that's awesome. But the fact that he's going to get his own series, and getting back to Echo, Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk will be a part of that series as well. So I'm not sure how much of a role they're going to have, but he is showing up in a few different MCU TV shows, and before leading up to his eventual 18-episode show is going to be awesome. So you know how much I love the Daredevil Netflix series. It's one of the, if not the best live action superhero show, and just one of my favorite shows ever. So I am super excited that he's back now in his own series and a fully part of the MCU. So that was the highlight of announcements as far as the Comic-Con stuff went for me. I was super excited about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a smart move,
Oh yeah.
Like canceling the Netflix show and then to consolidate all of their characters onto one service.
Yeah, but I'm just glad like Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios realizes that, let's say they don't consider the Netflix shows as part of the main MCU canon, they realize, even though they're not, what great performances Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio gave us those two characters, and they want to use them still in their universe and not recast it, which is always appreciated.
Is
And
is Foggy coming back?
I would imagine so, but no official announcements have been made as far as any of the other characters returning. I hope so though, because I just thought the whole cast in that series was great, and hopefully everyone comes back.
Yeah,
And
it won't be the same. Sorry, Tim, I don't mean to keep cutting
no,
you
it's
off,
okay.
but it won't be the same series unless Foggy is back. I'm sorry. In my book, if Foggy's not back, it's just a pale imitation of what the Netflix show was.
It's Foggy or nothing for you, right?
Yeah, Foggy, or you know what, cancel that series.
Well, hopefully it won't disappoint you, Dane, in that regard. So I was kind of going out of order. I was looking at an image that had the list of the Phase 5 stuff, but so we're also getting What If Season 2, the animated series, and then another series I'm excited about for Disney Plus is Secret Invasion, which they're describing. I remember the comic event that happened like in the mid 2000s, but they're describing it as one of the more serious and darker series that they're going to do. That going to deal with the Skrull invasion. It's going to be more spy thriller type stuff with Nick Fury and Agent Hill, and dealing with the Skrull invasion. So that's to be really cool. I'm looking forward to that one. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is probably right now my most anticipated MCU movie, because I love the Guardians movies, and James Gunn is going to wrap up his story with this one. And this was another film where they showed exclusive footage at the Comic-Con panel, and I really want to see it so bad because everyone says it just looks fantastic. And this is another one where you kind of saw the emotion on everyone involved, because it is going to be the last one with James Gunn and this cast together. And you really felt the closeness of all these kind of actors, knowing that this is going to be the last one. And everyone was saying the trailer that they showed kind of captured that feeling too. And there was like 5 seconds of it that leaked online. And I did see a little bit of that, because one of the things people saw is like, we're going to get more of Rocket's origin story, which is going to be awesome. And they showed a shot of Rocket as a baby, as a little baby raccoon. And I did see that. That was one of the shots that leaked. And I just look so adorable in that. So I'm really excited about this, especially knowing that they are going to deal with Rocket's origin, because I really like the story behind Rocket's origin that we got, not just in the comics, but the Telltale game that they did for Guardians of the Galaxy. They did a really great job with Rocket's story in that one, and I really hope that it kind of captures that same feel that game had for Rocket's story in here. So I'm excited to see more from Guardians. That's going to be out May of 2023. And then also, kind of not going in any particular order, there was Loki season 2. We're getting Ironheart, which is a character who's going to make her debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And then we got Captain America, the New World Order, which is going to be obviously the first Captain America movie featuring Sam Wilson as the new Captain America, coming out of the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I can't wait to see more of that too. So that should be really cool. And then we're getting the Marvels, the sequel to Captain Marvel, which is going to continue the story of Kamala Khan from Miss Marvel, as we talked about in our last episode. So that's going to be their big movie. And then Agatha, Coven of Chaos, the spin-off series of Agatha from WandaVision, the witch villain from that series, is going to get her own story and series coming in, believe, 2023 or the 2024. Can't remember on that one. But then another big movie they announced is going to be Thunderbolts, which I don't want to say is like Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, but it's because they're not all like villains in that, but it is something where the government is using these hero characters, and not necessarily the best hero characters, to do some missions for them. So it does have a Suicide Squad feel to it, but it's not going to be exactly the same. And I think this is where we're going to see, because we saw some hints of this already in Falcon and the Winter Soldier with U.S. Agent, his character, when Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, Val, recruited him, and kind of, even though he can't be the next Captain America, he can be the next like U.S. agent. So I think she might be the one to put this team together. And you might see some more familiar characters like Baron Zemo and some other ones maybe make their appearance as this Thunderbolt team. And I believe
I'm
that's going to
sorry.
close
I'm
off
sorry,
Phase
Tim.
5.
I'm sorry. U.S. Agent is Costco brand of Captain
Oh,
America.
it definitely is. And that's kind of why I think they're going with that character.
Great. I'm on board for that.
Right. So yeah, Phase 5 is going to be jam packed, and I'm just looking at stuff right now. I forgot the one bummer about Daredevil. It's not coming out till early 2024, so I still got a long 2-year wait for that one, but it's going to be worth it. I have no doubt of that. But then also the big bombshells that were dropped for Phase 6. So I said how Fantastic Four is going to kick off that phase, and they only announced 2 other movies, but they're big ones because they're Avenger movies, and they're going to close out Phase 6. I was always wondering, like, they said we'll probably get more Avengers movies, but are we really going to get a full-blown Avengers film, knowing that a lot of the original Avengers aren't there anymore? And is that something they're still going to do as far as having like the title be Avengers? And yes, we are, because coming out, I believe in summer 2024 or 2025, actually, it's going to be a longer wait. Is going to be Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, which, as I said, Kang is going to be a character who was going to be introduced in the next Ant-Man, but is going to play a big role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward as probably its main antagonist. Kind of, he's probably going to be the next Thanos for the majority of this phase. They could introduce someone else who may be bigger, like Doctor Doom or maybe Galactus once the Fantastic Four movies come out, but we'll see. But he's going to be the initial main threat, and he's a time travel villain. And so we know we're dealing with time travel and multiverse stuff, because that was also revealed how this whole saga, like, now is going to be referred to as the multiverse saga. Just as the first one was the Infinity Saga with the Infinity Stones, this one is going to be the Multiverse Saga, obviously with Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. They're diving into the multiverse here, and it's going to culminate not just into Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, but what's going to close out this saga in Phase 6 at the end of 2025 is Avengers: Secret Wars. And when I saw that title, I was like, oh man, they're actually doing it. Their big comic event from the 80s that was just so huge and introduced so many cool stuff, they're actually going to do as a movie. And I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us with that. And not to mention, it's going to be 2 Avengers movies in the same year. And hopefully one doesn't get pushed back or not, because that'd be awesome to experience 2 Avengers movies in the same year. But just the fact that they're doing Secret Wars, I mean, nothing is off the table for what they can do. Different versions of characters. You could bring actors back. If you want to bring Robert Downey Jr. back and Chris Evans as Iron Man and Captain America from a different universe, you can. I'm kind of expecting and hoping maybe Hugh Jackman even as Wolverine from that Fox's X-Men universe coming in here. Regardless of how they introduce mutants in the MCU, they can pull from those old movies and just have just the biggest event of characters ever for this big battle in Secret Wars, because that's how it was in the comics. And one of the things I'm hoping for too, because Secret Wars, what came out of that was the symbiote Spider-Man suit. So Spider-Man's going to be involved with this. They teased in that mid-credit scene that a piece of Venom symbiote was left in the MCU, so they could pull that in and have Spider-Man, if he's going to be part of this team, which hopefully he is, just have him get that iconic Spider-Man suit with the symbiote that we have yet to see in live action. I mean, we've got a lot of amazing stuff from comic books that I never thought we'd see in live action, but one thing I'm still waiting for is that classic symbiote Spider-Man costume. And if we can get that for his role in Secret Wars, I'm going to be one happy fan. But I just know they're going to go all out with this, because people are going to be expecting, how do you top the big end battle and event of Endgame? And Secret Wars is going to be a way to do that with what they can do with the multiverse. So I cannot wait for that and just kind of see how these movies in these next phases, the end of Phase 4, all of Phase 5, and Phase 6 leads up to Secret Wars. And it's going to be awesome to see unfold over the course of these next 3 years. And I couldn't be more excited as the big MCU fan that I am. It was just such a cool way to close out Well, they didn't close out Comic-Con with that. They announced this as the last announcement, but they closed the whole panel with Wakanda, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which was a fitting way to end it, paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman with what they revealed for Wakanda Forever. So just all around, just Marvel really knocked it out of the park for the first Comic-Con in over 2 years since the pandemic. So it was just great with the announcements we got and some of the early looks we got at some of the projects too. I could not be more excited for the future of the MCU right now.
You know what I realized with the whole MCU thing is it's so smart what Disney did, right? Let's get rid of the old characters, right? And then let's have an Avengers movie with new characters, right? So that Disney is saving money because
True.
like Robert Downey Jr. was making like a lot of money, and
Oh
so
yeah.
was Scarlett Johansson, and so probably Chris Evans was. So like, let's sort of like use the canon to reset that, so we don't have to pay these actors so much money, and um, they don't have to like acquiesce, I guess, to like certain star demands, you know?
I'm sure from the Disney business side of people, yeah, they really appreciate that. They like that
Yeah.
aspect of it.
I mean, it's messed up, but it's like, oh, that's what Disney is doing. They're sort of like, like they don't have to bow down to an actor's requests, and we don't have to pay them as much.
But at the same time, too, it just feels so natural how the story in the movies unfold too, where they can't last forever playing these characters and being these characters because it's not ongoing like comics are, where there does have to be an endpoint for these characters at some time in the movies, and they just did it so beautifully with Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow and Endgame to set the stage for other characters to take the leads in the future Avengers teams.
Yeah.
So Dane, if you were having a hard time following everything that now in the MCU, it's going to get a lot more crazier with these movies and TV shows over the course of these next few years.
Considering I tried to watch Doctor Strange and the Madness of Manhattan.
I was wondering what title you're going to give it this time.
Mutants in Manhattan.
Yeah. That's a Ninja Turtles game, actually.
oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I must have been thinking about Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I couldn't get into it at all.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know, like these Marvel movies are the biggest thing, but yeah, I just could not get into it. Like, I don't know if it's I don't care about the character of Doctor Strange or if it's like the movie itself. Like, yeah, you can have an Iron Man movie. I'm there for Iron Man. I'm there for Robert Downey Jr. But like, I don't know, with these lesser characters, I feel, with the exception of Captain Marvel, I guess, and I guess Miss Marvel. It's like I don't care about these lesser characters. Oh, Thor, I guess I care about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at the same time, like, when you have these many movies and characters now, not all of them are going to hit for everybody. So
Yeah.
it's got to be expected on certain cases.
What do you do if like you don't really care about the character, but you have to watch the movie?
Yeah.
Because if you don't watch the movie, you're gonna miss like, the Spider-Man's web shooter was there, so like that means Spider-Man is gonna be in the next U.S. Agent movie. like so not like seriously like what is the like what do you do? Like, okay, so I gotta sit through a U.S. Agent. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, not everything's going to hit. So far, I've watched everything. I've enjoyed for the most part everything on different levels, obviously. But that's just one of those things. If something doesn't hit, yeah, I'm going to watch it anyway, just so I know the story that's going on over the course of the bigger universe of the MCU. And if it doesn't click with me, that's fine. I just kind of expect not everything is going to click. And if it's like a series, because most of the series are kind of so far been like one and done. Loki is the only one that's getting a second season right now, so it's not like you have to continue watching each new season with these series so far. But if one doesn't click for me, it was kind of like I'll still maybe like skim through and watch it. If there's like some big stuff, like universe building stuff, I'll watch that. And if they're like core story of this character or whatnot I'm not into, maybe I'll just kind of skip a little bit of it. But so far that hasn't been the case. I've just been enjoying pretty much most of what we've gotten on various levels. Because not all the series are on the same level. Like I didn't get into Hawkeye really. There's some elements in there that I like Echo, but the overall, I don't know, just the story just in that one and the way they tried to introduce Kingpin as the main villain, but he was only in the last episode. I felt really didn't work the best. But so that was my least favorite. But at the same time, it wasn't like horrible where it was like, oh, how I wasted 6 hours watching this, whatnot. It hasn't been that level yet for anything as far as the TV shows go.
I see. But like for the movies, it's like, dude, and it's not like a movie that you're really into or a character that you're really into. Do you still go on the opening night for the premiere?
I usually go, maybe not opening night, but like opening weekend, like it's a Friday or Saturday or something like that. I'll go to it. Pretty much every MCU movie I'll definitely see on opening weekend. But if it's like one of the big ones and like characters like in Avengers movies, that'll be like a Thursday night for sure.
I see. Yeah, I don't know. It's just for me, like some characters I just can't get into, like Doctor Strange. I didn't really like that first movie. I cannot tell you who the villain was of that movie.
Yeah, he's one of the
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I'm trying to remember his name now, to be honest.
Is it a guy?
Yeah.
I mean, like
the actor was Mads Mikkelsen who played the villain.
Okay.
I'm actually blanking on his name now.
I can't get it. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm not really into the Doctor Strange movies. Ant-Man, do without. Yeah. Besides Thor.
Caecilius, that was his name.
Okay. What was his power, Tim? Can you
he
tell
was
me
just
that?
another sorcerer who was just an evil one, really, pretty much.
Sorcerer. Okay. Shang-Chi. I really like that one. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really love Shang-Chi.
Stuff.
And I forgot the thing they announced. The director of Shang-Chi is directing the first Avengers, the next Avengers movie, the Kang Dynasties, which I think he's perfect. And I really thought he did a great job with Shang-Chi.
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't know, with some of these movies, like I just really cannot get into it, and that's part of the reason why it's like I'm not really part of this MCU thing, where it's like, because you got to be like you, Tim, like you got to watch like every single movie, right? TV
to
show
get the full appreciation of like some of the big event stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like before you mentioned it, Tim, I totally forgot about Echo.
Yeah.
In
Hawkeye.
Yeah. I totally forgot about her. So yeah.
Well, you're gonna get reminded with her TV show.
Yeah. Well, and it's even worse if like one of your favorite characters are in a movie that you don't really care about. You know, I'm not sure there's really been one that an MCU movie that has really done that. Where like, let's say you're a real big Spider-Man fan, Tim, and Spider-Man is now in the new, I don't know, Thing movie, right? From Fantastic Four, right?
Or you could just say Fantastic Four.
Yeah. No, his own solo movie. Yeah.
The Thing.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yep. Well,
yeah,
I'm always here. I'll be here for you, Dane,
excited.
to explain it all on episode. So you don't have to worry about that.
I'm happy that you and pretty much everybody else is excited for these movies coming up.
And they'll be there for you on Disney Plus in no time if one catches your interest and you want to check it out. So
yeah,
it'll be there.
How come the Spider-Man movies aren't on there?
Because they're still
Sony
distributed
thing?
by Sony. Yeah.
Okay. I see.
They'll eventually get there. They worked out a deal where like after a few years they'll be on there, but it's still going to be a while.
How come Disney just doesn't buy Sony?
Sony doesn't want to give it up. They want to milk it. So obviously what they're doing with these movies, Morbius and Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter that they have in development, they just won't let it go. But one thing I forgot to mention too, on Friday were the Marvel animation panel. They didn't have a trailer, but some screenshots leaked out of the X-Men 97, the continuation of the 90s show. Man, I can't wait for that. The designs.
Oh, does it look good?
Yeah, it looks great. Picking up right where it left off with those classic 90s look, but it just in a, updated current animation style where it just looks like it's being produced today, which obviously it is, but they're not redesigning the characters. They all have their classic 90s costumes, which is peak X-Men for me. That is the X-Men, that team. That's what I grew up with. That'll always be the definitive version of the X-Men, in my opinion. And the fact that they're coming back and continuing on with most of the original voice cast, because unfortunately some of the voice actors have passed away, which is a bummer. But the fact that they're reaching out to the original ones who are still with us is awesome, and I cannot wait for it. It just looks fantastic. It's going to be 2023 at like fall 2023 next year. So all the stuff is kind of a ways off, but it's going to be worth it because there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, how can Disney make another X-Men animated show? Then Disney bought Fox, right?
Yep, so they could do whatever they want.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, even then, they could if they wanted to, because Fox, they just own the movie rights. Like, Disney could have done an animated stuff, because they do their own Spider-Man animated series, which we have a new one coming out, which it's called Spider-Man Freshman Year, which when it first announced, they said, oh, it's going to be in the MCU, and you're going to see Spider-Man Peter Parker first get his powers in his first year of high school and see how it eventually leads up to him meeting Tony Stark. But now they revealed it's gonna be that way, but it's gonna be in a different universe. Like, it's part of the multiverse now. So instead of meeting Tony Stark, he's gonna meet Norman Osborn, and he's gonna meet other villains that he hasn't met yet in the main MCU timeline. So it still sounds like a cool show, but I'm a little bit bummed that it's not gonna be part of the main MCU canon, because I wanted to see that backstory of that version of Peter Parker.
Here we go with the multiverse stuff. Yeah.
Yep, it's the multiverse saga, so there's going to be a lot of this stuff now.
Oh God! Why can't we just have? I'm gonna sound like an old man. Yeah. Why can't we just have good guy versus bad guy versus good guy? Back in the day, when movies
gotta evolve beyond that.
When superhero movies were back in my day.
When they were simple.
They were simple. No, I get it.
Marvel's doing it so well too. Even though, like you said, you're not connecting with every movie and every character, it hasn't gotten to a point yet for me where it's like gotten too convoluted and you don't know what the heck's going on if you watch the movies, if you're like a hardcore fan, and it can lose its quality and all that stuff.
I think it's about to.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is a daunting task that they have, but if anyone shows that they can pull it off, it's Marvel Studios. So I'm not doubting them yet until they kind of butcher it or blow it. They haven't yet, so I have all the confidence that they'll continue to do so.
Well, as I've gotten older, the one thing I've realized about myself is I only have time and patience for one thing, to really obsess about.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Star Wars.
I totally understand that.
MCU. You have baseball. I don't know. You have all these. You have the Ninja Turtles. Like, for me, like, I only have the time and patience for like one or two things. Star Wars, right? Star Wars is the one big like movie franchise that I can really sit down and parse out. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, I don't really have time for like other franchises,
Yeah, I get that. Even like this, I know there's a bunch of other like shows and movies that I should probably watch, but I just, like I said, time and this stuff you want to focus your attention on. It's just like you can only do so much and engross yourself so much. Because I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but it was like when you're really into something, you don't want to hurry up and move on to the next thing and lose your enthusiasm for that. Like, just recently with Stranger Things came out, like, I watched that season, like I was just fully engrossed in that story, and then I know I wanted to watch the new season of The Boys, but I was so engrossed in the Stranger Things story that I want to continue that. I rewatched the earlier seasons with that before I moved on to watching The Boys, and I did watch The Boys like 2 weeks ago, season 3. It was great, like you said, Dane. Especially those last few episodes. But it's like, I like to pace myself out and just enjoy and be immersed in something that in that particular moment is going on, and not just move on to the next one. It'll naturally play its course of like when you'll know when you're ready to move on to another story and get engrossed into that. But it's harder to do now with all this stuff coming out with Star Wars, comic book stuff, and just other general TV shows and movies that are out. But it's like a good problem to have. But
yeah, it's about the journey and not the end on certain things.
exactly.
And you know, like you bring up a good point with the pacing, where it's like I feel like Star Wars is sort of really gotten the pace down. Especially when you're in the middle of a trilogy. The 3 years in between. And like we haven't gotten a Star Wars movie in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And they're piecing out these television shows pretty good, with the Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan or the upcoming Cassian show. So like, yeah, like you do bring up a good point where it's like the pacing is key too, where you can't just overload it. And like that's like with the Marvel stuff, like I feel overloaded, even though we haven't really gotten a real big Marvel movie since Endgame. Like I just I don't know, it's like too much too fast, and then like they're bringing in the multiverse, and it's like I think like if I wasn't on the bus then, I'm definitely not on the bus now.
Yeah. Not at this point.
Yeah.
Not just too far into it.
Yeah, I'll peek my head in once in a while if there's something cool like the Marvels movie. Yeah, I'll poke my head once in a while.
If there's something that's just amazing and great that you have to see, you'll know. I'll let you know about that.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the big stuff from Comic-Con. But like I said, Marvel owned the show this year with all their announcements. It was, like I said before, it was just a lot of fun to experience the excitement of following all these announcements. It's always a good time, even when I'm not there. But lastly, the last thing I want to bring up, a little bit of news we got just a couple of days ago on the DC side of things. It was officially revealed that the Ben Affleck era as Batman is not over just yet. We know he's going to be in the Flash if that ever comes out, which even though it has a release date for 2023, I'm still skeptical on. But was revealed that he's going to be in the Aquaman sequel, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. He's going to be back as, not sure if just Bruce Wayne or just as Batman, but he will be interacting with Arthur Curry in that movie. It was revealed that he was on set earlier this week. I think it was something where like a studio tour got a glance of him on set where they wasn't supposed to, and then Jason Momoa took to Instagram to kind of confirm, yeah, Ben's here filming a scene and he's going to be good back in this movie. It's good to be back together and all that stuff. So it's going to be cool to have still as Ben Affleck continue on his time as Batman, even though it's going to be little appearances here and there. I mean, that's fine with me. I mean, we know he's never going to probably do, well, I should say never say never when it comes to this stuff, but more than likely he's not going to do a full-blown Batman movie in that universe. But if we still get appearances from him here and there, I'm totally cool with that. But some of the stuff that I'm hearing, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I think the original plan, and this might be some spoiler stuff for the upcoming Flash movie, that Aquaman was supposed to come out after the Flash, and the Flash movie is supposed to reset certain things and make the Michael Keaton Batman kind of the main DC Universe's Batman, and that he was supposed to have an appearance in Aquaman. But since the scheduling release dates got reshuffled, and now that the Flash is after Aquaman, it makes sense that Ben Affleck's version of Bruce Wayne and Batman would be in Aquaman first, because the universe hasn't been reset and all that. I'm not sure if that's true, but it'll be interesting to see if that ends up what's happening, if that is the reason to do that. But regardless, it's going to be cool to see Batman in Aquaman sequel, and that Ben Affleck is still open to playing the role in these small appearances here and there. So I thought that was some unexpected but cool bit of news to get earlier this week.
I'm all right.
I kind of figured you would. It wouldn't be a huge deal for you, but
yeah, I mean, we got Michael Keaton coming back, and we got Robert Pattinson. So
Yeah, I mean, what's the use of complaining about any of this stuff really when we got all these versions of Batman that's going to be here? I mean, why not at this point? I mean, we're just getting more good stuff, so no harm, no foul.
You should bring back Val Kilmer.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they did, but man, it just sucks his health condition now where he's at. I mean, it would be kind of cool if they did a tribute to his version of Batman in some way. But
George Clooney hasn't been in a movie in a long time, so
I'm good with that one. I'm good.
Yeah, so like the same feeling you have about the George Clooney one, Batman, I have about the Ben Affleck.
Gotcha. But yeah, I guess with that's gonna do it for this episode. So as always, I'll go ahead and throw it to you, Dave, for the outro.
All right, go over to BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handle is @BatmanUniverse. The show's Twitter handles @Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handle is @TimG311. My Twitter handle is @DaneSaysBanana. Rate and review on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfansandallpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode,
we love each and every one of you with all of our vast multiverse hearts, even if we lose count of how many Marvel movies are coming out that we're going to love with all our hearts. That one was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was. See you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.
Sunrise under Gotham, Crime Alley is a rich boy's tomb. There's a stealing cat, two faces of a coin. Scarecrow's frightened of a clown that's laughing, boys. I am a Bat-Man, I am a Bat-Man, shine and signal, come out to play. I am a Bat-Man, I am a Bat-Man, bring it on, Batman, jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Bat-Man, I am a Bat-Man, shine that signal, come out and play. I am a Bat-Man, I am a Bat-Man, bring it on, Batman, jump out